Good morning, grade 2-3 students. Welcome to our first math lesson in our new classroom. I'm so excited to start this new topic with you all. First, you're going to need mom or dad to help you set your PowerPoint to full screen so that you can see all the information. Next, you're going to set your volume to loud so you can hear my voice talking to you. If you still can't hear my voice talking to you on each slide, just press the little speaker button and it should replay my voice telling you about each slide. After you've finished a slide, you'll just have to click on the arrow button or on your mouse to move on to the next slide. Make sure that you listen to the whole recording before you move on to the next slide or you might miss some information. We are all learning how to use our virtual classroom, so if it's not working the first time, just keep trying. If you find that you're having any problems with the PowerPoint or want to make a comment, have mom or dad reach out to me, or you can send me a message on our email in our virtual learning environment. I am so excited to be moving on to our new topic. Here's a drum roll. We are going to be learning about fractions. Do you know what a fraction is? This might be a little bit of review from last year. Think all the way back to last year. Do you remember what fractions could be? Can you remember what any of the fractions are? I'll give you a minute to try to remember anything about fractions from last year. Fraction represents how many parts of a whole we have. Do you think this is the kind of whole that I mean? Of course not. We're going to be looking at an actual object to see how many parts of it we have. Like I've already mentioned, a fraction represents parts of a whole. As you can see, there's a yummy looking pizza in front of me. This is one whole pizza. But if I was to take a slice out, you could then tell me the fraction of how many parts are left, or how many pieces of pizza there are left for others to eat. A fraction can also represent parts of a set, and we're going to look at an example of this on the next slide. As I just mentioned, a fraction can also represent parts of a set. Here's a familiar looking picture. There are 6 eggs in a carton. And if I was to make a yummy breakfast and take 2 eggs out, you could tell me the fraction of how many eggs are left in the carton. To have a fraction, we must be able to split our object into equal parts. Now, if you think about it, if your sibling happened to make a yummy pizza and they wanted to split it between you and yourself and your brother and your sister, which pizza would you rather have a piece of? I would rather take a piece of the equal parts pizza on the left because I would know we'd all get the same amount of pizza. On the right, the other pizza does not look like it's cut fairly at all. And I'm sure one of your siblings would not be very happy with the small piece. It's really important that when we cut fractions, we make them always into equal parts. How do we read a fraction? Here's the way that we would read some of these commonly used fractions. When we see 1 over 2, we would call this 1/2. When we see 1 over 3, we'd call this fraction 1/3. When we see 1 over 4, we can call this fraction 1/4. Can you notice a pattern about what we're naming these? When I see 1 over 6, I can call this 1/6. If I see 1 over 8, I can call this 1/8. And if I see 1 over 10, I can call this fraction 1/10. Notice there's 1 of how many left. So what does a fraction look like? Well, here's a fraction, and this represents 1/2. On the top of our fraction, we see a number 1. This represents the numerator, and we're going to talk about what a numerator is on the next slide. Under the line, we see the number 2. The number 2 is called the denominator, and we'll also talk about what a denominator is on the next slide. Can you say numerator? Can you say denominator? The numerator is the number on the top. And when we go to write a fraction, our numerator represents how many parts of the object we have. On the bottom, we see the denominator. The denominator tells us how many parts there were altogether before some of them got taken away. Let's take a look at this example. What does 1/2 look like? Well, I can look at the picture and using my inference skills, we've talked about those before, I can tell that there was once one whole pizza. It looks like it was cut in half and somebody took half of the pizza away. They probably had a very yummy meal. When we want to write how much of the pizza that's left in a fraction, we'll start by writing the numerator on the top. How many pieces are left? Well, we see that there's one big piece of pizza left. My numerator will be the number 1. Under the line, we're trying to figure out the denominator. Remember, the denominator shows how many pieces there were at the start. We know that there was 2 pieces at the start, so our denominator is 2. Our fraction, 1/2, shows that there's only 1 piece of pizza left out of the 2 that were there at the beginning. I think you are ready to try some examples. Let's work through them together and see what you can find. Here is another pizza. Can you tell me the fraction of pizza that is left? Look at how many slices there are now. And remember to think about how many slices there were at the beginning. I'll show you the answer on the next slide. In this example, we're going to start by finding the denominator. Remember, the denominator tells us how many pieces there were at the start. We see that there were 8 pieces of pizza at the beginning. So their denominator is going to be 8. Now we're going to find the numerator. This is the number that goes on top. And remember, we find the numerator by counting the number of pieces that are left. I can see that there's 4 pieces of pizza left, so I know that the numerator is 4. There you have it. We know that the fraction of pizza that is left is 4/8. This means that there were 8 pieces of pizza at the start, and there's only 4 left now. Well done. I'm wondering if anybody else noticed something about this pizza. 4/8 is also equal to 1/2. And some of you might have looked at the pizza and right away known that there's still half a pizza left. Well done to those people who thought of that as well. All right, I think you're ready to try another example. Here we go. Yum! You know how much Mrs. French loves chocolate. Can you tell me the fraction of chocolate that is left? Now have a look. This chocolate bar is meant to be brown. The white squares represent the squares that are not in the chocolate bar any longer. They have been eaten. Can you tell me the fraction of chocolate that is left? Remember to look at how many pieces there were at the start and how many pieces are left now. Let's see if you're right. First, we can find the denominator. Remember, the denominator is the number on the bottom, and we find this number by counting how many pieces were there at the very start. We can see that there were 6 pieces of chocolate at the beginning. We know the denominator is 6. Next, we're going to find the numerator. Now remember, the numerator is the number on the top, and we find this by looking at how many pieces are left. We can count to find out that there's 4 pieces of chocolate left, so we know our numerator is 4. And there we have it. The fraction of chocolate that is left is 4/6. This means there was 6 pieces of chocolate at the start, but there's only 4 pieces left now. Well done! I think you're ready to go on a super fun fraction scavenger hunt. You're going to look around your own house to find some examples of fractions. You can ask Mom or Dad or anyone else that's home with you today to help you record your fractions by taking a picture or helping you write them down or helping you to type them up on the computer. I can't wait to see 3 fractions or more that you found in your own house. Please go back to our online classroom. I'd like you to go to the Assessment tab on the navigation bar. Then you're going to visit the Assignments tab. Click on the assignment called Fraction Scavenger Hunt to read all the instructions on how to start your scavenger hunt now. I can't wait to see what you come up with. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I can't wait to see all of your very creative examples. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.